You're listening to the Life Coaching Secrets Podcast, episode number 67. Did you know that life coaches are needed now more than ever? I'm Frank Macri, founder of Thriving Coach Academy. I've trained over 1,000 coaches and helped them launch their own successful coaching businesses. If you want to make an incredible income and impact as a coach and have a lot of fun doing it, I'll show you exactly how to get it done. This is Life Coaching Secrets. What's up, coaches? In this episode, I'm going to talk about how to create valuable virtual experiences for your clients. Now, what do I mean when I say virtual experience? I mean offering a coaching program that has a virtual element to it. So you are giving value through a computer screen. Perhaps you create an online training for people to attend, whether it be clients or also potential clients. It could be a webinar. It could be a virtual summit. Or maybe you have a program that has an online membership site where students or clients can log in and go through your virtual resources, videos, digital workbooks, whatever it might be. That is what I mean when I say a virtual experience. Now, Thriving Coach Academy is a 100% virtual program. And often when students are considering our school, we are sometimes asked, how does the experience of going through a coach training program differ, going through one that's completely virtual and going through one that's in person? Now, I used to be someone that really strongly believed that you cannot beat the interaction that you get from an in-person experience. And I really had this belief for a long time. And I'm also someone that has seen both sides of what it is like to train coaches in person and also online. When I was starting out as a coach trainer, I was actually working for another large coaching organization, and they were all in person. And a lot of their curriculum was centered around 3 really intense weekend trainings that were 10 hours on Friday and 10 hours on Saturday and 10 hours on Sunday, and they were held in hotel conference rooms. And people would come in to attend these workshops, and we would start really early, we'd end really late. And I found that this was not an ideal learning environment for students. Yes, people were getting together and meeting in person, but a lot of people were, first of all, uncomfortable sitting in the hotel chairs all day. For some reason, the hotel conference room chairs are just terrible. People, I remember, would bring their own chairs and their own pillows just so they could not be sore by the end of the day. And also, the hotel food selection, not so good. They usually had just a very minimal selection of snacks, and a lot of students would have to bring their own food, bring their own snacks. I remember one time I did a training, and the students were bringing so much of their own food and piling it underneath the tables we had in our training room that the hotel staff noticed, and we got in trouble because we weren't allowed to bring in so much of our own snacks and foods. But it was because the students needed food. They needed to have substance in order to get them through such long days, and they couldn't stand the limited selection that they had at the hotel. So even though it was an in-person training, there were so many inconveniences that people had to deal with, and ultimately it created a learning environment that was not optimal. And then later on, after I'd moved on from training with that organization to creating Thriving Coach Academy, I had a decision to make, and it was, do I want to do an in-person training or do I want to go down the virtual route? And all that I had known up until that point was the in-person option, just because that's what I was familiar with. And I thought, how could I possibly create a virtual classroom that could have the level of engagement that people have in person? Is it even possible to create an experience that is better if it's virtual than it's in person? And I am so delighted and happy and proud to say that we have done it in the Academy. We have created a virtual classroom that is so so much more valuable than any in-person training could ever be. And it is one of the things I love hearing our coaches say when we ask them what their experience was like in the academy, what surprised them about their experience. And they said, you know what? One of the things that surprised me the most is how much fun I could have on Zoom, how much fun I could have in a virtual classroom, how much fun I could have learning and also meeting people. So many of our coaches say they're so surprised at how deep the friendships are they form from a virtual classroom, meeting people from all over the world, never meeting in person, but feeling like they found their family. So in this episode, I want to share the benefits of having a virtual experience with your coaching business and why you don't want to miss out on that. And I also want to share some of the top tips that I have for you when you put together virtual experiences for your clients. Now, let's talk about the benefits. So first of all, and perhaps the most obvious benefit of having virtual offerings with your business is the flexibility that it gives both you and also your clients. So the flexibility it gives you is that you can run your business from anywhere in the world. And the flexibility offers your clients is that you can support people from anywhere in the world. Now, when some coaches consider their goals that they have as a coach, and they realize that they don't want to be a traditional coach, they want to be a premium coach. Now, in the academy, we're the only coach training program that teaches coaches how to market themselves as a premium coach, meaning a coach that doesn't just charge coaching for $100 an hour, but you're able to confidently charge your coaching at a high ticket, at a premium. So being able to sell coaching for $5,000 a package or program, $10,000 programs and beyond. Now, the number one concern we hear coaches say right when we invite them to this opportunity of charging high ticket and going premium is, well, I don't live in an area where people will be able to afford that. And the good news is that it does not matter what area you live in. All you need is this magical thing that we call the internet. That is all you need. The internet is what will give you access to people from all over the world, from all different walks of life. And this accessibility is what's going to scale your business to whatever it is that you have, whatever your goals are as a coach. So the accessibility that having a virtual offering and experience in your coaching business gives is truly infinite. Now, another part of flexibility and accessibility is that maybe there are certain people that have physical limitations that would prevent them from attending an in-person offering. So I used to do in-person workshops, even besides just coach training. I would run my coaching business before I trained coaches. And I had in-person workshops where I would coordinate these very intense weekend-long summits, and people would fly in from all over the world. And I would have to have conversations with interested people. And sometimes people had physical limitations that would keep them from traveling or would keep them from sitting in a room for so many hours a day. And what's great about having a virtual experience is you can have people of all different backgrounds and they'd be able to still have access to your support. So it makes your coaching more accessible. For example, we have a coach who's almost graduating through the academy. And when she was enrolling, she said that she had a major surgery that she was going to experience. And she was worried that it would limit her ability to be engaged in the training because she was going to have to lay down to recover as part of her healing. And I assured her that her recovery is something that we can integrate as part of the training experience. So she'd be able to lay down and just prop her laptop up. And that's exactly what she's done. And it's worked out really well. She's still been able to put in her training hours, to get access to the material. And it's something that she's expressed having a lot of gratitude for. And it's great that we have that virtual training option. So that way we're able to train an amazing coach, even though there's that physical limitation. So the accessibility is the biggest benefit of having a virtual experience. Now, selling as well. It's so much easier to sell your coaching when it's all virtual. So what I mean by that is when you have an in-person offering that you're delivering, you not only have to sell the value of that, and someone needs to realize the value to say yes to it, but they also need to be sold on the travel and the expenses that it will take to physically get to your in-person experience. So if you're doing a workshop, when I would do my summits, I would not only sell people on the value of the summit, but I also had to sell them on why it was worth it to spend hundreds of dollars on airfare, hundreds of dollars on hotel, and hundreds of dollars also on food that they would spend during travel. So when you have the in-person, the virtual option, you don't have to worry about any of those concerns. There are way fewer concerns and objections for you to resolve with potential clients because they can get access to your entire offering and program from the comfort of their home, from just a few clicks of their keyboard. So you make your selling so much easier when you are offering virtual experiences. Now, there's no coaching police out there that are telling you that you have to offer only in-person experiences and workshops or only online. You can offer both. You can offer one, you can offer the other. But again, you're leaving so much money on the table if you are not considering having a virtual offering. And I know that some of you think, oh, well, why would I do that when the in-person is going to be so much more valuable? But I'm telling you, you can have more value in a virtual learning environment than in person. You may have just never experienced it yet. So I was talking to a potential prospective coach recently, and she was considering enrolling in the academy. And she's like, you know what? I love everything about your program, but I just don't know about the whole virtual thing because I just have never really experienced that before. And I said, well, what have you experienced with other virtual, meetings and classrooms? And she said, oh, they've just been such a drag. They've been so boring. And I just dread going onto Zoom and all that. And I said, listen, let us show you how it's done. Let us show you what a party looks like in Zoom, because we are having a party. We are having fun. We are laughing. There's music. There's engagement. There are jokes. We have such a blast with our virtual classroom. It is so awesome. So if you're listening to this and you've had negative experiences with other virtual settings and virtual classrooms, virtual meetings, and you also desire to have your own coaching business that you run from your computer, then you owe it to yourself to go through a training program such as Thriving Coach Academy, where you can see what it's like to actually have an incredible virtual experience. That way you know what you can model for your own coaching business. So that is one of the most important things for you to consider. Like, I know that some people think, oh, I should go get trained by a coach training program that's in person because I think in person's better. But if you're also wanting to have an online business, then how do you think a training program that is only good at teaching in person, how do you think they're going to teach you how to offer a powerful virtual program for your clients? They're not, because they don't know how to do it. Otherwise, they would do it. Making sense? All right. So another one of the benefits that I think some people don't realize about why it's important to offer virtual experiences, virtual programs for your clients is that it's introvert friendly. Okay, so recently I enrolled in an online course. There are 150 people in the course, and it's all online. It's on Zoom. And I am so comforted. As an introvert myself, I know sometimes people don't believe me, but I am an introvert. And I'm so comforted knowing that I am not in a room with 150 people, because I know that if that class was in person, I would feel a lot more tense. I would be more distracted. I would feel more drained being in a room with so many people. But because I can just join this training from my home and all I see are little square boxes on the screen, there's relief. There's no tension. I'm able to be more engaged and more focused. So there are a lot of coaches that enroll in the academy, and they say that normally when they're in a group environment, it's hard for them to open up. It's hard for them to share. But they find inside the academy, because of the container that we create, because it's virtual, because there's comfort with that they're able to open up and engage more. They feel safer doing so. So having virtual experiences also is more introvert friendly because introverts are going to feel more comfortable expressing themselves in that virtual environment. Okay? So why is it so important for you to take advantage of virtual experiences now? The reason is because right now we are at such an amazing turning point in how people learn and in the type of services that people invest in. So many industries have pivoted to online, and a lot of people have adapted in investing in certain services that normally they'd go in person to receive, and now there's been this incredible shift of people now enjoying having those same services delivered online. And this is not just a trend. This is not a trend that's going to go away after a few years. This is here to stay because people are realizing now how flexible and convenient it is to have access to valuable services online. So people are more willing now than ever before in receiving that. So if you've ever wanted a reason to get started now with your coaching business and having an online coaching program, then right now, the world we're living in is the perfect evidence and reason for that because there's so many people that are bringing themselves to receive value online and they're looking for other ways to receive value online. And your coaching program can be the next thing that they invest in. So I know that there's been a lot of negative that's happened from the pandemic, but this is one of the positive that is sparked from the pandemic. The demand for online education, online learning, and virtual coaching, virtual learning environments. Now, I want to give another quick story of how I was able to really bust through the limiting belief I had that in person was always better. So you might have heard in previous episodes last year that I wanted to learn piano, and I've still been studying piano, and it's been going really well. It's been a little over a year now. But when I got started, I had found 3 different teachers, and 2 of those teachers were in-person instructors, and one of them was fully online. So I started out having a trial session with the first in-person teacher, and it went really well. He came to my house. He watched me play for an hour. He gave me some tips and left. And then the next day, I had the second teacher come in for a trial session. The same thing. He watched me play for an hour. He gave me some tips and left. And then I had the virtual trial session the next day. And I had so much skepticism. I thought, there's no way. How is she going to be able to hear when I play a wrong note? How is she going to know when I play a wrong note? How is it even going to come close to the in-person experience that I had with these other 2 instructors? So I kept myself open-minded and I had the trial session and we met over Zoom. And I said, so how do we do this? Where am I supposed to put my camera? And she said, it's very simple. Just put your laptop on some kind of a stand or a chair and just angle your camera down so I could see your fingers as you're playing the piano. So that's what I did. And she told me what song to start playing. And as I was playing, it took me minutes, only within a matter of minutes, that she showed me that she was able to hear and listen and tune in at a level way higher than the other piano teachers. It blew me away. She knew exactly what fingers were off. She knew exactly when there was a note that was wrong. And I hired her on the spot. At the end of that session, I said, listen, I am blown away. I want to hire you right now. I cannot believe it, but now you've made me a believer that virtual can be more valuable than in person. And I still have lessons with her every single week, and I'm still blown away. Now, I know that some people think that, when you are behind a screen, you might think, I don't really know if that's a way to stimulate or engage with people or have an emotional connection to people. This is such BS, right? And you prove this to yourself probably every day. Do you ever go on a social media app, like you're scrolling through Facebook or TikTok or YouTube or Instagram, whatever it is, or maybe you're watching a movie, you are watching a TV show. Do you ever have an emotional reaction to what you see on a screen? Like, we have emotional reactions all the time to things through screens. We just don't realize it. So if you question whether or not you would be able to have that energy shift and boost in your clients if your coaching is delivered from a screen, then just think about how you are constantly engaged with things that you see on the screen, probably every single day. So you don't have to be in the setting of a movie to feel the energy of a movie, right? You can feel things from the screen. You do it every single day. All right, so I want to finish out this episode by sharing a few of my top tips for if you're going to deliver any kind of live virtual experience with clients, whether it be you get your client, you have a group session over Zoom, or you're doing a group training, whatever it might be. So tip number one is to still have a hands-on component to your program. So what I mean is have something tangible for your clients to engage with as they're going through your program. So one of the things we do in the Academy is we ship out hard copies of our certification manual and our client magnet playbook and our other journals and manuals to our students. So they have them delivered at their door within 5 to 10 business days. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Like one of our students, Amal, she was like, and she lives out in Abu Dhabi. She's like, I was not expecting you to ship hard copies of the manuals all the way out here to Abu Dhabi. We did. And we have a lot of students from different countries, and we want them to have something to touch, something that they could flip through and take notes on and engage with. So that adds so much to the experience if you can create something hands-on for your clients to touch, something tactile that they could have as they're going through your training. So that is tip number one. Have something hands-on that you're sending out to your clients. Tip number two is have fun. You must make your training fun, okay? So when people think about logging onto Zoom, a lot of people think, oh, I hate sitting through this next Zoom meeting. A lot of people associate going onto Zoom with it being very boring. And you want to break that assumption that all virtual video calls are boring. So be the example. Show your clients how much fun you could have. So play music, right? When people are jumping into your virtual training, have some upbeat music playing. If you're having breaks, play music during the breaks. Sometimes we'll show some short video clips in the middle of or when people are coming back from breaks just to lighten up the mood, keep the energy high. Okay, so another way to make your training fun is to ask lots of questions that allows you to check in with your group as you're training. So make sure that you're bringing them into the experience by asking them questions and getting people to share and open up. Don't make it one-sided. Let it be an experience where people are able to apply what you're teaching and apply whatever it is that you're coaching them on. There are so many features that Zoom has that you might not even realize. You can send, for example, there's like you can send people out polls for them to vote on certain things. You can spotlight certain members so that way their camera takes spotlight. So like in the Academy, we have spotlight. We spotlight certain coaches whenever they're coaching. We spotlight coaches whenever they are receiving coaching. So it's awesome to just put a spotlight on different people so that way you see different faces. It makes it more interesting and makes it fun. The third tip for making valuable virtual experiences is having movement as a part of your experience. So just because they're behind a screen doesn't mean they have to be looking at their laptop for hours and hours. Okay, so there are little ways that you can have people move as you are delivering your training. For example, you can tell people to raise your hand if you're finding this really valuable. Give me a thumbs up if this is making sense. Or this is something we do all the time in the Academy. We say, high five the person next to you on Zoom and tell them that they're awesome. So high-fiving the people next to you. Or nod your head if you're following along with me. Or give me a shimmy back and forth if you are ready for us to go to the next concept. So there's so many little funny things that you can do that also incorporate some movement. You can even have your attendees stand up for 30 seconds to a minute and do a quick stretch break. Okay, so having movement is going to keep the blood flowing. It's going to keep them more engaged. It's going to make their experience a lot more positive. The fourth tip is to have lots of interaction between you and your clients. Okay, so how do you enhance the interaction? Require that everyone be on video. Okay, so a lot of people, they'll log on to Zoom and they might not turn their video on. We require all of our students to be on video when they're going through the training. It gives it a very human aspect when you can have people on video. And Another amazing feature in Zoom that we use a ton in the Academy is the breakout room feature. So breakout rooms is when you're able to be put in a separate room with a select number of other attendees and collaborate or discuss a topic before you come back to the main room. So we do this all the time in the Academy. We will teach and we'll have breakout rooms where students can practice their coaching and engage with others and brainstorm certain scenarios and concepts before they come back to our main room. Another way to have interaction is to utilize whatever chat box features there could be. This is a great way to bring people into whatever it is you're delivering. So typing in the chat box for especially introverted students, if they might not feel comfortable sharing vocally, they might feel more comfortable typing their questions and their thoughts and their insights in the chat box. So utilizing the chat box often is a great way to keep people really engaged and connected. And I would say one of my favorite ways to have interaction is utilizing the whiteboard feature. And I'm talking about Zoom specifically. I'm sure that there are other similar platforms for this podcast. I'm really just talking about Zoom because it's the one that I think most people are familiar with, at least for now. So when I would deliver coach training in person, usually I'd have a flip chart and it would take a lot of time to draw out on the flip chart. Sometimes the markers wouldn't be working so well, or sometimes people couldn't see the flip chart because it wasn't big enough. What's so cool about, again, virtual experience using Zoom, you have this whiteboard where you can bring your curriculum to life. You can make drawings, you can type out concepts or key terms. We will use the whiteboard feature to type out feedback for our coaches when they are doing their coaching and getting their feedback. So that way they're able to screenshot it and have it. I remember when I trained in person for another organization, we had to just give feedback orally and the coach would have to just scramble and write it down and there wasn't really a way to capture it. But with Zoom, with the virtual training we have in the Academy, coaches are able to see the feedback on the screen and download it. So they always have it accessible to them. And it's clear. They don't have to scribble it together and try to make sense of their own handwriting. And at the end of whatever training you do, the last tip for having interaction is make sure you leave space for all of your attendees, your clients, your students to share their insights, to share their biggest takeaways. This is so important when you're doing any kind of training to help people integrate the learning by sharing their biggest insights. Okay? All right. So the final tip I want to leave you with for having an amazing virtual experience is what to do in between whatever virtual offerings you have. So let's say you have a group coaching program and there are 6 weekly calls that you lead. Have your students connect with other students in between those calls, or have your clients connect with other clients. So maybe you have them coordinate a peer call where they're able to set goals with a peer or a couple of other peers that are going through your program at the same time. And they can hold each other accountable. They can get to know each other. This is really key because sometimes when they're in the virtual classroom with you, they might just be engaged with you, but you want to make sure they're engaging with other students, other people on the same path they're on. Okay, so this is why in the Academy we have peer coaching triads that we put our coaches in so that way they're able to connect with other coaches who are on the journey that they're on. They're able to week by week hold each other accountable and practice and support one another. So they're not just meeting in the classroom, they're also meeting outside of the classroom. So this is really key. You want to have a way for your coaches, your clients, your students to interact in between your video trainings. Now, if you want to see clips from our virtual classroom, because I know you might be wondering what this all looks like when it comes together, we do have actual clips from our virtual classroom that you can watch. It's on our website where we don't hide it. If you go to thrivingcoachacademy.com, you can see several clips from inside our virtual classroom. You can get you can see it for not just for you to kind of get a feel for the energy of our program and how much fun we have, but also so that way you can get a little sense of how you can engage, how engaged people can be in a virtual environment and the type of fun that we have as well. All right. So go to thrivingcoachacademy.com and you'll see plenty of clips from inside our virtual classrooms. And also one of the cool things that we give all of our students in the academy as a bonus is we give them a done for you guide for your own virtual webinar. So if you want to deliver a webinar, a powerful webinar to attract clients, we give all of our students right away a done for you webinar guide. Proven step-by-step guide. You essentially just need to fill in the blanks that you can use right away to attract clients and grow your business and provide a valuable virtual experience for your following to never forget. Okay, so that is what I got. Wow, we went through quite a bit here on how to create a valuable virtual experience. The most important thing I want you to keep in mind is that it is possible to have so much fun in a virtual learning environment, and it is possible to have amazing transformation and form deep connections with people online through a screen. And if you've never experienced it before, we will show you how it's done inside the academy. Once you get on the inside from the very first training, you are going to see just how much fun virtual training is, and you will see how your experience of learning coaching is actually better virtual than it would ever be in person. All right, that's what I got on how to create valuable virtual experiences with your clients. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. Hey, would you like access to powerful coaching tools you can use on yourself and clients right away? For being a listener of the podcast, I'm giving you a VIP guest pass to get a sneak peek into my coach training program. Inside, you'll learn our coaches' secret tool they use to transform their clients' lives. And you'll also get a training on how to launch a coaching business. Just head over to www.thrivingcoachacademy.com/VIP to get started. I'll see you on the inside.